Alright, so I've dumped the gear kit and one gear is somewhere around here under this cutting mat or something. But I'm going to show you how these little pieces go together. So essentially, underneath my body, I'm going to be taping my assembly here. And you'll need the car kit, the bag of car kit stuff, my motor for now, 2 straws, and this one's shorter. So I've cut, this is the original length of the straw, and notice I've cut it, and you're just going to need to cut it to the size that you experiment with, I guess. And I've got extra if you mess up, but not a million extra, so, you know. Anyway, so this is the bearing. So bearing, which is what allows the axle to move. So when I put the axle inside the bearing, there, it spins. Yay! Okay, that's good. If I didn't have a bearing, I would glue this to the body and it wouldn't spin. Okay, so that's why we have the straw. Once I put, so if I was going to cut down like an original length straw, ready? Notice there's about an inch or so of material at the end that we need to cut off. So I take some scissors, which I don't have here, so I'm going to use wire cutters. And I'm going to cut the straw a little bit so that there's a little bit of axle. There's a little bit of axle on either side of the straw, like that. So you need enough for the wheel to attach. So I attach the wheel to the axle, like that. And then I'm going to attach the other wheel, and notice there's not a lot of room for the other wheel. If you jam this on and the straw is like crunching, then your axle's not going to spin. So just be careful, like once I put this on, see how it kind of crunched my straw? Now this has got friction, it's going to be bad. So I want to take a little bit more of my straw, just a tiny bit. If you cut too much, there's too much wiggle, and these cars book it when it has good sun. They go really fast, and see, even this, I'm feeling some friction. When you spin your wheel assembly, there should be no friction, like very little friction, I should say. So I'm going to do that a little bit more, and hopefully this time so see, now I have a little bit of wiggle, but not a lot. Further down. And it spins really nicely. So you want this to spin nicely without going back and forth too much, okay? So that's one. I put the tires on. So one of them is just the straw, axle, and tires, wheels, like this. Okay? The other one, before I put the straw on, I'm going to choose a gear. So we're going to look, we have another gear that's like a little bit smaller than this, I think. But this gear with like one gear on top and one, like the dual gear, we're going to add this one to the motor. Okay? And this one, the reason I like this on the motor is because you have a choice between a small and a big gear, which is good. I typically start with a small gear because it allows for these to like fit together nicely. And you'll see why that matters in a little bit. So I'm going to attach this gear to start on my axle, and it's really annoying. Okay? So put it on a surface and like just push really hard down. And then you should have enough space on the other side for your wheel and tire, and then on this side you're going to have a straw and another wheel. So where's my other wheel? All right, found it. so this has a little bit, we'll see when we attach it. I might need to get a new straw because this one's a little bit wiggly because I cut it before. But essentially I'm going to tape this to the chassis with some duct tape. And when I do that, I'm going to do this one first. I want one without the gear. All right. When I do that, I want to try to do it as straight as possible, parallel parallel to this. So I'm going to put the tape on this first, and then just try to make it as straight as possible. Like that. Alright, cool. That spins very nicely. So then I'm going to do the other one as straight as possible. But not like any amount of wiggle, so. And I could move this gear down. That would make less wiggle. We'll see. So, got this here. Parallel. There. So now, oops, let me move that back a little bit. Even it out a little bit. So that's the good part about tape, is it's not as much of a commitment as glue. So I would avoid using glue for this part, but you would really need to use strong tape, because if your tape isn't strong enough, it's going to fall off. So now that I have that, let's push it up a little bit more. So see how it wiggles this way? That's bad. So I'm going to have to cut a new straw. You could also cut a little chunk of straw and put it on the side, but that's going to make it so that it's not going to. Alright, so that's it for this part. Then I'm going to make another video for gears. Whee!